So, the Boston Uprising. Now, every season in the Overwatch League, we tend to have a team in crisis. In the inaugural season, it was the Shanghai Dragons who failed to win a single game during that season, where there were questions over their training regime and other aspects of the way Shanghai Dragons was run. They rectified the problems in the second season and saw more success than they could have imagined, bouncing back from such a torrid time. But in the second season, we saw another team in crisis. This time it was the Houston Outlaws, originating from a problem with their parent company Optic. Gaming, they were in financial difficulties and went on a very poor run of form near the middle to end of season, which saw the Houston Outlaws fail to achieve anything and looked desperately bad. But a rescue from Immortals Gaming, the parent company of the Los Angeles Valiant, and then a buyout in the off-season from the Beasley Media Group saw the Houston Outlaws' fortunes turn around, and they were able to spend money in the off-season bringing in quality players like Meko. But we're now in the third season of the Overwatch League, and it appears we have another team in crisis. Yes, it's the Boston Uprising. What can we do with them? Boston Uprising's fortunes have been on the downturn since stage 3 of the inaugural season, if we're honest, where they lost their coach Krusty to the San Francisco Shock. Since then, they've been nothing but going downhill. They were the first team to achieve an unbeaten stage in the Overwatch League in that stage 3, where they won all 10 of their games during that stage, and were phenomenally good, with great talent like Gamsu and Striker. But since then, it's been nothing but downhill for this Boston Uprising side. Krusty moving over to the San Francisco Shock, he has seen much success with that team, as I'm sure you'll all know. But this Boston Uprising side has never recovered. And now they are facing a very dire situation and very dire season. So, let's outline it, shall we? We saw the Boston Uprising last season, we weren't too impressed with them, and we hoped that they would make some changes. In the off-season, they made some changes, but they weren't particularly enamoring. They weren't, oh my goodness me, Boston Uprising have really improved. We were still putting them near the bottom of our power rankings. And it was a gamble we were proven right with. The Boston Uprising entered the season, but they didn't actually look like the worst team, with the Houston Outlaws having an atrocious start. But with improvement from the Outlaws and other teams that have not done as bad as expected, like the Los Angeles Valiant, the Boston Uprising have found themselves rooted to the bottom of the league. They are currently 20th place. They currently only have one win on the board with 6 losses, and a -14 map differential means that Boston Uprising are definitely on a poor run of form. Couple that with 3 wins in their past 25 Overwatch League matches, and you seriously start to worry for this Uprising side. But it gets worse for this Boston Uprising side. So we look at what's happened in the past couple of months. Obviously it's been topsy-turvy with the Overwatch League, and you could blame perhaps some of the instability in the league for that, caused by the coronavirus. But other teams have not seen so much movement compared to the Boston Uprising, and so it stands to reason that it's capitulating reasons and not just the instability within the league right now. So, on March the 2nd, they lose Munchkin. Munchkin was one of the more marquee signings of the Boston Uprising transfer window, with his pedigree being at the Seoul Dynasty previously and having a lot of pedigree pre-Seoul Dynasty. He was a really good player, and this was his second chance in the Overwatch League. But Munchkin would never play for the Boston Uprising. He ends up leaving on March the 2nd to go and play back in Korea, or for Lucky Future more specifically. And this automatically raised some questions, but we kind of passed it off, right? Halo joins the Boston Uprising the day after, which is a decent signing, but then again, it's still not marquee and not the big signing that Boston Uprising need. And then yet another bit of bad news comes in for the Boston Uprising, with their main tank Axiom taking a leave of absence on March the 9th for a medical procedure. This left them with only Fusions to fill that role. Couple that with the Muffin saga, which went on for a bit of a while. On April the 4th, they finally decided to terminate the contract of their off-tank Muffin, who was coupled with their academy side, the Uprising Academy. The Muffin problem, it's something that perhaps the Boston Uprising couldn't have foreseen. But then again, there were murmurs that the Boston Uprising knew about the problems with Muffin a couple of months before they actually happened, which would call into question the Boston Uprising management and their judgment on taking Muffin on in the first place. No doubt that Muffin was a decent player, but so was Dreamcasper. It's funny how this situation can happen twice to the same team. Moving on then, and on April the 14th, they lose yet another player, with Swimmer deciding to take a step back from competitive Overwatch. This leaves Boston Uprising with a 6-man active roster, 7 if you include Axiom, who is currently inactive. This is not good. In these days of the Overwatch League, you expect to have more than 6 players on your roster. One of those players goes down, and you're in serious trouble. Boston Uprising are living by the skin of their teeth, and there's a lot more games to play in the Overwatch League season. So what are Boston Uprising going to do about it? There doesn't seem to be any movement from the Craft Group, who own Boston Uprising. There doesn't seem to be any movement from management, which is headed by Huck, who's the president of gaming for the Boston Uprising. And also there doesn't seem to be any movement from the coaches, who is head coach is Mineral. Now, the question is, what do the Boston Uprising do? Where are the wins going to come from? In Week 11 they take on the Toronto Defiant. And this is a winnable game for a team that is not that far from the Toronto Defiant. Toronto Defiant have been up and down this season. But Boston Uprising, they don't look like they can beat anyone. They don't look like they can beat contenders teams. If I was to put this team up against the likes of the Eternal Academy, for example, British Hurricane, I honestly think this team would get slaughtered. And that's not good. That's not a good look for any Overwatch League team. The philosophy of the Boston Uprising is to find the diamonds in the rough. That inaugural season roster of Dreamcasper, Snow, Avast, Kalios, Mistakes, Neko, Striker, Gamsu, Note and Kellox were very good, and most of them have gone on to do better things, apart from Dreamcasper obviously. But when you look at some of the others like Note, Gamsu, both at the Dallas Fuel and improving day on day, Striker at the San Francisco Shock, there is incredible pedigree in him. But the thing is, Boston Uprising, they keep going for those diamonds in the rough, and at the moment it's now not working. When you look at the more recent acquisitions of the Boston Uprising, Alamau is no longer really assigned to anyone. RCK's back in EU contenders, Persia's retired, Stella, he went back out to the Korean contenders region, Blase, he's the only person who's really stepped up going to the Houston Outlaws. Munchkin, again, didn't do much and is now back in Korea, and Muffin and Swimmer we've already talked about. So the only 2 players that are actually still in the league from more recent Boston Uprising sides are Blase and AimGod. And so you have to call into question the issues with the Boston Uprising. They have a significant bunch of issues with their scouting, with their squad creation, with their squad currently, with their coaches, with their management, with their ownership. There are significant problems at the Boston Uprising, and unless it changes very soon, we are looking at a team that is going to be bottom of the league, not just this season, but for a long period of time. They are going to be the staple worst team in the Overwatch League, and that is not something anyone wants to see. We have seen teams in this position improve every single season. Last season, it was the Florida Mayhem in this sort of position, and they have improved. Maybe not improved too much, but they have indeed improved. Shanghai Dragons were the same team in the inaugural season, and they definitely improved, winning Stage 3 of the second season. And so the precedent is there for the Boston Uprising to improve, but it requires a massive overhaul. They can't just start adding little unknown names to their roster and hope they pop off. What Boston Uprising need to do is they need an overhaul, just like the Shanghai Dragons did. They need to toss out the dead wood, they need to get rid of coaches, they need to get rid of managers, and they need to have a overhaul. We need to see a new team. I've said it in previous videos. What I would do if I had the ability to, I would take Boston Uprising out of the league and I'd put a new Boston Uprising in. It doesn't matter about the colours, but if you want to change the colours, go for a new look. Go for a new Boston. Just change things. Because if you don't, you will be the worst team in the league. And you will be the worst team in the league for a long time. This season will be pivotal for the Boston Uprising. If the management of the Boston Uprising don't change things, they will finish bottom of the league this season. And if that doesn't kick them into gear, it's going to be a long, arduous, hard road for Boston Uprising fans in the future. But that's going to be it for this one. That was the Boston Uprising. They are a team in crisis, and hopefully, like the other teams, Houston Outlaws and the Shanghai Dragons, they will find an end to it, and they will find a new beginning, which is what they need right now. But it's got to happen soon. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.